Hello, it's Kevin Jackson. We're here with Craig Lee, Director of AT&T Foundry. Thank you very much for taking the time
Sure, well, thanks for coming
to come talk to us about what you're doing out here in Plano, Texas.
Okay.
So, I understand the real, goal of the Foundry is to help organizations solve their real problems, leveraging some of the advanced networking and technology that AT&T provides. What do we have here?
Exactly. So one of the things that we look to do is to help customers and they have business problems or needs, and we'll use this Foundry as a way to accelerate a prototype, just to show is it possible, what's the art of the possible, or to de-risk the concept so that they can move forward with certainty that this is going to do what they want to do. So one of the things that we're looking at here is actually we've put together this particular part of the Foundry to reflect different environments that align with the verticals that we serve. So right now we're standing in the manufacturing pod space. Okay. Again, this is just enough of the attributes so that as we're doing testing or doing installing something on a PLC or something there with the robot, we have the attributes and things that we can do the testing with. Now, as we do those types of prototypes and testing here, ultimately we'll take them out and try them out, or the customer will in their facilities will go do that. So one of the elements that we do is work very collaboratively with the customer that we're helping to try to solve that problem with, and we do that in quick turns so that they can immediately have something to look at. Is that what they want? Is it? We'll continue to improve upon and refocus that as we go.
So I think you have some of these things here.
Sure.
Are these some of the props that you use?
Well, these are all live elements. So one of the solutions that we went after to do some prototyping around, really the problem statement was our service techs and people that are working on our equipment inside of our factories are aging, and just the nature of the new workforce that we can go and hire from, really don't have the vocational schools or the tech schools anymore, right? So we're hiring people to come in and take the natural flow of replacing folks that are retiring, and those people just don't have any technical skills really for us.
Foundational technical skills.
So we as a manufacturer are forced to put them through all kinds of training just to keep them safe and make them effective as they go out there. It also leads to kind of a retention issue because basically they're in college for a year, going to manuals and all that sort of stuff before they actually come in. So what we wanted to look at was, could we use a industrialized augmented reality type of experience, couple it with some of the technologies that we have deployed here, the ones that are new, and really come up with a solution to address this need of how do we make a new employee that's coming in to be a service tech, one, safe quickly, and then also do things where you're delivering the content and training as you go through augmented reality classes. So they're not having to train for 6 months before they work on that PLC equipment. The machine, augmented reality and the AR and the AI that's kind of guiding them through the steps to repair that are right there.
So you're using augmented reality and virtual reality in order to help enhance training and improve safety in the work environment.
And so even putting more and more of those services together where edge compute is monitoring the assembly line for errors or problems that might be occurring. When one is identified, then it can process out a ticket to the appropriate repair person. As they come on to work on a piece of equipment, we're using video analytics as a safety element to look to see is that the right person that's approaching the piece of equipment. Is it been powered off or locked out, they call it, so that they're safe as they are doing the work. But then also kind of stepping them through using the AR goggle, our AR approach to what's the first thing to do is we unscrew these three things. So those get highlighted in their visual space. So they know exactly how to kind of go through them.
So as you are going into these established plants, manufacturing plants, and you're bringing all this new technology that's creating and consuming an awful lot of data, can these networks stand, or that amount of bandwidth, or do you have to enhance these networks? And if so, how do you enhance them?
Well, I think what we're finding is, in this space specifically, a lot of the times there are folks that are setting up and managing the data. They can't leave their data, right? So they have to basically put together networks and solutions within their four walls that house the data. So today that's been Wi-Fi for the most part, right? So they'll use Wi-Fi to do that, but they can manage where their data stops and what goes to within the building.
Right.
So what AT&T is able to do now is have what we call private LTE or private 5G type of solution, where those systems are deployed internally in the space by AT&T, but the data is stopped or housed still in the building, meaning it's not necessarily tied to the back-end network. It's the data is captured and stored. So you get the benefits of that data staying in the walls, but the additional benefit of having cellular type of connectivity with all the bandwidth and capabilities that come with that versus Wi-Fi.
Oh, great. Well, thank you very much. It seems like the manufacturing community and industry vertical is really taking the next step for advanced business models and digital transformation.
And I think the thing that makes this really play is that you've now got something in this particular problem statement. The folks, as we look at this, folks that are coming in to take these jobs, like a video game, right? It's a very engaging, it's something that they're very used to, so it fits very well from that retention and satisfaction perspective, because they're working right away and they're using these cool AR type of techniques to do that. So it's a great fit for the technology and trying to solve this particular customer problem.
So Craig, we were just in the manufacturing plant and you were telling us how the advanced technology can really help improve training and safety. So where are we now?
So as we've laid out these various workspaces within the Foundry here in Plano,
Right.
we wanted to have a flow that's natural for products or solutions that are kind of going through that supply chain. So you think about manufacturing, things are manufactured, they're loaded onto a truck, driven to a distribution center, or maybe going directly to the store. And then as they're put onto into this distribution model, they may be unloaded again and driven to a store or out to the retail space, right? So we've laid this space out so that we can also mimic that by having elements built in the factory by the Foundry, by the robot, and then actually have those loaded onto a truck and then unloaded, if you will, here. So we achieved that by putting a conveyor belt system in that kind of routed it through the back of a truck and then on into where the distribution area is. So what you're seeing here is actually some of the boxes that...
Yeah, I see some of the products are coming off the line right now. So this is, I guess, the distribution that's behind the manufacturing of all these products.
Correct.
So what type of technology do you have or would you employ in order to track all this, these products and components?
So one of the things that we look at from a supply chain perspective, which is one of the areas that we work on, is that there's a number of point solutions around what do I have here and there and so forth. But what turns out is it's often very challenging for supply chain to have a up-to-the-date snapshot of what's at each of these different stages within that distribution channel. So think about in the warehouse, how many black boxes do I have in the warehouse, right? How many are on the shelves at the retail? What's the take rate at retail so that I can manage this entire long tail distribution model? And so some of the things that we've done with customers is come up with very cost-effective ways to instrument things that are telling their supply chain the exact understanding of what's in the retail, what's coming out of the factory, and so forth. So in this case, we've got a couple of examples. The conveyor belt here that's as the boxes are rolling on it, there's actually some sensors that we've created that are looking for these boxes as they come off. And it's actually counting the number of boxes, the rate at which they're coming off, and so forth. And we've done it in a way that's very easy to retrofit into some existing factory facilities. So that's one of the other elements that we always look at is the cost to deploy a solution in total, not just what's it cost to
Right.
make the box, right? So in this case, as we were working with the customer, there's hundreds of conveyor belts and all these things that they want to do. So we were able to use a combination of Bluetooth technology as the near field link, using some technology to measure is something there or not.
Yeah.
And then that could be mounted at strategic places throughout the warehouse or the conveyor belt system and be monitoring what's going on.